What's going on, everybody? Hashtag always be moving. And today we have Luis Alvarado with us here. So I appreciate him coming on. Actually, he was just telling me some stuff, and I guess you call it the green room, the back room, everything like that. So, and I was like, wait a minute, man. It's like, man, some of the stuff you're telling me, my audience needs to hear this. People need to hear this. And he was just telling me something interesting, as far as how he just has this program where he's going on, where he's actually trying to teach people for free how to actually make, passive income. Because apparently he's been living off active income for a while, but now I think he just told me since July of last year that he had, pretty much just transitioned from his active because he wanted his time back. So, I mean, there's another thing, a lot of people, I guess, a lot of, employers or whatever. Oh yeah, I forgot to do the engagement and all that stuff. So if you're on live, hashtag live, hashtag replay and everything like that, just push this out so, we can get this message out. But a lot of, employees are always talking about, well, let me go to entrepreneurship so I can get my time back. But sometimes, you transition from an employee and then you go to an entrepreneur who is actually an employee, even though you're working for yourself. But I mean, you still don't have time. You're dedicated to the computer 24/7. So, I mean, obviously, I think this is where Luis is going with that. And I'll just let him tell his story, go ahead and get into it, give him some of his background and all that stuff. So, Luis, thank you for joining us. And, the floor is all yours, man. Go ahead and have it.
Yeah, man. So, Mike, thank you for having me today, man. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a fun talk. And I'm just excited to share because there's, I've been through all these different phases of one might consider, starting off. I've only ever had in my life just 2 jobs, and then all I did while being in college was I just did a bunch of dance gigs. Right, my background is a professional dancer. That's how I would get paid, and that's the only thing I knew how to do. I just knew how to take tests, and I just knew how to dance. And so, along this journey, I started learning a little bit more about entrepreneurship. I fell in love with it, and I just went all in on YouTube. Started learning more stuff. Started Googling a bunch of things, and then as time went on, I started trying to do some like startups, and it started going well. Obviously, they didn't really blow up to anything, but I got a chance to do a lot. It was just a lot of exercising of the principles, of the foundations of what it takes to really build a business. And then I started kind of like looking into an online business because I'm like, okay, well, I know that I'm really good at navigating like online. And so I want to be able to, see if I know I can build a business in the physical world. Now I want to be able to do it right here in the virtual world. And it was like a complete, it was just 2 different things. And I had nobody around me that knew how to do that, or at least that I was able to connect with. And so I went on Facebook and I started joining some groups. I became part of some really cool Facebook groups out there, and just started connecting with people. And then I started seeing people just closing $1,000 deals, $3,000 deals, $5,000. And I'm like, holy shit! Like, are people like, is this possible? Like, people are really making this type of money right now? Like, that blew my mind. And I started just looking more into it, started getting in touch with these people, and they were all super open to, just talk and message back and forth. And so every time I would have those types of conversations, they would just give me so much great insights. And I just started learning, more and more. Then I started investing myself. And then as time went on, the first thing that I ever did was I had a digital agency. So, just generating leads like a bunch of people do to become self-employed. But the thing is, with agencies, that whenever you jump into it, you kind of, you want to jump into this because it's like, oh, you become an entrepreneur, but then people all of a sudden, they start really trying to become a really good like ads manager, right? And then they kind of just like copy and paste all this copy from campaigns from other people that have worked. And so they're not really learning any marketing. And when all this happens, they're just kind of not really building any skill for themselves, and they're going in the direction that they think, oh yeah, I'm doing entrepreneurship, but that's not really like where they're headed. And then a lot of people don't have mentors to point them, in the right direction. And so that's kind of what happened with me. I started doing this whole agency stuff. Then I'm like, okay, I gotta get really, really good at Facebook ads. But that's not necessarily the mind. Yeah, obviously at the beginning when you're starting a business, you need to take care of a bunch of different areas. But you can't just be an expert and dive deep in just one thing, because at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, you're the one who oversees all the operations, right? You're the one who is really orchestrating all the movements that are happening and like on the business. And so I went through the agency model. I started doing consulting, then I started doing coaching, then I started selling my own info products. And when I graduated, literally the week of my graduation, I went to school for engineering. I sold my info product, and it did really, really well. It did 12K in just 1 week, and I didn't have any internships. I didn't have like any jobs lined up. So I'm like, shit, I'm diving into this entrepreneurship thing, full time right after college. And then for me, that was in December of 2017, and then January of 2018, last year, I started traveling. Like as soon as I graduated, I'm like, I'm gonna start traveling full time. Like I see all these people like living the laptop lifestyle, and it's really cool and all. But I want to be able to do it, because where I'm from, I was born in Peru, and being able to come here to the U.S. was such a huge blessing for my family and I. And we've had so many opportunities, but had never been able to travel the world or be able to experience the type of lifestyle that I get to live nowadays. And so I'm like, it was no brainer for me to start doing that. So one of the first stops that I was living at was in the Bahamas, and I was over there, and I was there with like 4 other entrepreneurs, and it was really freaking cool. We got to bond, we got to make a lot of money together, and it was really fun. And then from there on, the whole year, I was literally just bouncing from one place to another. And as time went by, I was selling my own info products, which was awesome. But I found myself like really working a lot of hours, while I wanted to really go out there and explore a bunch of different things. I was in a bunch of different cities, and I really wanted to spend my time exploring. Sometimes I get caught up with work. And so I'm like, okay, well, now I really just have a high-paying job. I was just self-employed. I wasn't a business owner. And once that reality hit, that's when I started learning a little bit more about automation. I started really learning more about funnels. I started going and diving deeper into chatbots, also some email marketing, which is all the back end of the business. Because what a lot of people see out there, especially with all these influencers and people that grow groups and have such a big audience, that's just the front end of the business. But when a lot of people are focusing so much on the front end, they tend to burn out, because what does the heavy lifting for entrepreneurs is the back end, is being able to nurture the relationship, being able to deliver value on autopilot, be able to make offers on autopilot, be able to drive sales to their business all on autopilot. And if you don't have the right system set up, it's impossible to do that. And then that requires a lot of your time, right? You're trading a lot of your time to generate income. You take that to the next stage when you start delegating tasks to other individuals. Now you're putting less time, but you're still, you might still be making the same amount of income, or you might be making a little bit more. But now this is considered semi-passive. And so as I was traveling, I started exploring one source of semi-passive income, which was affiliate marketing. And so I went in on affiliate marketing, started doing really, really well. And during my journey of affiliate marketing, this is when I truly, truly learned marketing. Because as I mentioned before, right, I was doing well selling my own stuff. I was doing well I had the agency thing. I was helping people get clients and doing all of this stuff. But at the end of the day, I wasn't really learning the skill set of marketing, right? And when it comes to marketing, I kind of like did the reverse opposite, because what I would suggest for people is to really go into affiliate marketing first, because that's where they actually get to learn the skill. You're not selling your own stuff. You're getting to sell other people's stuff that's already working, right? They already have an entire campaign, all the back end set up for you. All you need to do is just bring attention and send traffic to their offers. And so as I was doing that, I started learning so much about just marketing and automation, and what it really took to build a really successful business. Because all these other companies that I was an affiliate for, you get to see they just share everything with you. They share who they're targeting, their demographics, what these people are like, what type of offers are converting best, when are they doing these launches. And so, I started studying all this type of stuff. And again, I'm like doing this as I'm traveling, and it got pretty exhausting just being in a different time zone all the time and hopping on a plane every other week. And I'm like, damn, how can I start learning about these different income types? And I'm like, okay, well, how can I make passive income? I hear a lot of people talk about it. I know it's not a myth. Just like when I started first making money online, a lot of people don't think it's possible, think of it as a myth, but it's possible. So the same thing was with passive income. I started trying to see a way that I was able to do it. And so I started seeking out people that knew how to do this stuff. I started learning more, and I went from learning just how to make money to learning how to manage my money. And that opened up so many different doors, combined with all the automation that I was learning before. And then ever since then, this was July of last year. I got the chance to go back to Peru, and it had been 10 years since I had been back. And I just went through this process of just asking myself, like, what I really wanted to do, moving forward. So as I was over there, I decided to just, I got this like epiphany, and I'm like, I'm gonna just do passive 100%. And I'm like, I shut down absolutely everything that I had, all the businesses, all the people that I was engaging with, all the students that I had, like literally shut everything down. And I'm like, I'm just gonna dedicate myself to to doing passive income, and really discovering that. And as I was doing that, it was just like an amazing journey, just kind of like being away from the internet and not being so attached to social media. And not only having location freedom, which I had already obtained, but also having, that financial freedom that people talk about, that financial independence that people want to get to, and really having that passive income in place, knowing that, okay, next month I'm going to be making, this much, and I know from here on out, my income is only going up, and it's never, gonna ever have a ceiling on it, or it's all up to me now based on my expenses, on my lifestyle expenses, whether or not I remain financially free. And so that's kind of like where the journey kind of like led me to where I'm at now, where this 2019 I'm coming back here online and being able to share this message with other individuals, right? Because I've been able to get to meet with like for example with you next month, you're gonna be coming down to Miami, and we're gonna be able to link up. It's been the same, right, with a lot of these other digital entrepreneurs, getting a chance to connect and just being able to travel the world with them and mastermind, and it's been super fun to date.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, that's a good good story as far as, yes, all around. Pretty much you've done a lot of stuff, even at, I guess even a young age. And a lot of people say, well, due to my circumstances, I may not have a lot of money to do this and go out and do that. But I know as far as when you first got started, in your agency and everything, because I know a lot of people, at least in my audience, or even in my circle, they may not have, a ton of funds or whatever to, get started. But my thing is, even with agency stuff, you can at least, pick up the phone and call people. So, I mean, you always have that. I know a lot of people don't want to do that, but I mean, you can still go into, door to door people. So, I mean, how did you, I mean, obviously, I mean, from what actually you just, mentioned was you actually went and got information in Facebook groups. So, I mean, a lot of people say, well, I don't have a lot of money to buy trainings and courses and all that stuff. But you just heard that, Luis said, he joined the free Facebook groups and got information before he got started. So I don't know if you want to speak a little bit on that or not. A little more on that as far as, just getting information, not having much, because it seems like you're reaching out to a group of people that, really don't have a lot of funds and a lot of, money to get started in their business. And I think that is actually, that's a myth and a lie that a lot of people say, well, you have to have a ton of money. I think you need some money, if you really want to scale quick. I mean, it might take you longer. So somebody told me, either it's going to take you money to get started, or it's going to take you time. So I mean, but I mean, the thing is, it still can be done. So I'll let you speak on, as far as that.
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to, a lot of people talk about, oh, you need to make money, you need to have money to make money. And that couldn't be any, further than the truth, because we all have a certain skill set. And in 2019, if you're watching this right now, you have the internet. And all it takes is whatever thing that you may be interested in, and being able to solve problems with the specific skills that you have, be able to really enjoy whatever you're doing, be able to find people that you can help out. And if they're willing and able to pay, then you got yourself a business that's solving problems that you can monetize. And then it's just all a matter of packaging everything correctly, in a way that you are putting information that and serving it to other people. Because through time, right now we're living in the information age, and those that can package information the best are the ones that are going to be winning in this economy. And so when I first got started, like I mentioned, I didn't have much. All I ever had, and all I had ever made my entire life, was probably less than $1,000. So when I made money online, that was more than I had made in my entire lifetime. But with Facebook groups, there's freaking information all over the place. Too much that it's a little overwhelming, right? And then you get the shiny object syndrome, because this person's talking about this opportunity, and you got this opportunity over there, and you got all this. You got so many different amazing opportunities that they all work, right? And I mean, some people promote stuff that isn't necessarily going to help you out. But then there's some other stuff out there that is super credible. They have a lot of testimonials behind them, and can actually produce results. And so you just need to be able to do your research, and also not be too skeptical, moving forward about certain things, and just be willing to try them out. But with this whole information thing, it goes back to really understanding what it is that what is your purpose. So what are some of the skill sets that you can help others, empower them with the skill sets that you have at the moment. Because nowadays, my belief is the whole agency thing it's great to start generating cash flow for somebody that may be in need, because it's a skill that it's in pretty high demand right now. But I'm a believer in building long-term wealth, and that comes with building a business that you're gonna love, right? You're gonna wake up every single morning, and you're gonna enjoy going to work. And there's no reason why everybody here wouldn't be able to do so, right? You're going to be able to build something like that. It's just knowing what steps to take to be able to build that. And so that's kind of like goes back to what I was going through last July while I was in Peru. I had this mentor, and he was making me dig deep into like my past and why I did, certain things the way that I did. And then that allowed me to really have the courage to just let go of everything that I had built, and literally start from scratch, which was pretty scary. And I guess for a lot of people, it would be Obviously, I took some cut to my income, but at the end of the day, I'm building something that I'm gonna be building for the rest of my life. It's not something. Some people ask me questions like, okay, well, how fast can I make money here, or how consistent is the income going to be? Because if you focus on all those things, you're asking the wrong questions. Because if you just focused on how much money you can make like right now, you're not really gonna be fulfilled to like show up every single day and help the people that you want to help out. Um, and so yeah, start off with really knowing yourself first before moving forward and identifying your skills, because the last thing that you want to do is you don't want to create a new job for yourself. You already have that. You want to be able to create something that really allows you to express yourself freely, and be able to help you make a lot of money here online, because the opportunity is huge.
Yeah, that's true. And I know you mentioned something about solving problems. I mean, that's just with any business, and it looks like Nico's joining. What's going on, Nico's? How you doing? Hashtag live, hashtag replay, or hashtag ABM. Just let us know where you're at, where you're coming from. Let us get some engagement. And you mentioned something about Nico's. I don't know if you have any questions or not. But if you do, just put them down in the box. But put them in the comments. But I know you mentioned something about solving problems, and that's something that a lot of businesses need to focus on. But I think Sam Ovens talked about that. I mean, if you're constantly solving problems, then you'll constantly be a business that'll be around. If you can solve a big problem, then obviously the money will come, people will come, clients will come. So that's pretty interesting that you mentioned that. And as far as solving problems for people that don't have a lot of funds, because I know that you mentioned to me about you're starting a course, or and is it? I mean, as far as just explain to us about what you're doing as far as starting. I think it's a free course, and explain to us about that course and how you're actually going to reach out to people and show people how to make money quick online with less than $100.
Yeah, so for this past month, I've been really being able to like put all my ideas together, and really seeing what I've done in the past that's generated me the most income, in the shortest amount of time, and being able to put all of that and ask myself the question of, hey, if I only had $100 to my name, right? Like no other thing, no audience, no list, no buyers before. And like I really absolutely knew nothing about technology. Like what would I do? What would be my steps, and how can I do that in a week or less? And so I started writing up this process, and it's basically to help people create their own system that will not only help them generate leads but also sales on autopilot. And that's with either having your own skill set, that's with either selling your own stuff, right? If you already have an online business, awesome. It's just, it's a great way to follow these steps and really make a lot of cash in just a week. But even for those that don't have anything, some people tend to think that, oh, well, I don't have anything to sell right now, so they don't sell anything, right? So I've made this for even somebody that has literally no digital product or hold anything ever online, that they'd be able to go out there, and I provide all these resources. There's a lot of free resources out there. If you want to speed up your time, there's also paid resources that you can choose from. But I literally show in detail how to do everything, provide a bunch of templates for people. And the goal is to do that, how to be able to get 100 customers to your business with less than $100, and doing all that through automation. That's what's on autopilot. I want to emphasize that, because I don't want I just want to be able to create a system that is going to be working for you instead of you working in it all the time, which is what I share, which is what I preach. Because I want to help people buy themselves more time into the future. And you do that not only by generating more cash flow, but to the point that they can be financially free, and that they don't have to rely so much on when the next paycheck is going to come. right? And be able to really have more free time available for them to dedicate to whatever it is that they want to be able to do.
And that's interesting that you're talking about, a lot of automations and stuff and building out digital products, because I know that you're in this circle as well with Rob Quinn and Andrew Cruzy, and they do a lot of stuff, as far as building out, digital products and everything like that. And actually, I've been following, because when you said the back end, it kind of looked familiar, and I knew what you were talking about, because if you go to his page and look, he just did a post about, doing things on the back end. And of course, Abby Waller, she had to get on there and comment on the post on my page, as far as make sure Luis, mentions about the back end and talks about the back end. But yeah, actually, I've been following, and Russell Brunson talks a lot about this too. But I've been following, I guess, people as far as Anthony Morrison. I don't know if you know him or not, but he does a lot of stuff and talks about, how you can, build a lot of automations and stuff like that, as far as, doing emails and chatbots. I don't know. You can go into that, because I know a lot of people say, actually, I think it was Anna, one of my first interviews. She talked about, as far as email is not dead. Another guy I follow, Travis Stevenson, and especially he talks about, email is not dead, and especially if you have a chat bot, because they're putting their m.me links in their, in their emails and stuff, and they're actually, pulling people from their email list into the chat bot, which I think that's a pretty, interesting, unique test. And I'm pretty sure you got some tactics like that as well. So could you explain to us how, you are setting up all these automations? Is it with chat bots, emails? I mean, what's some type of automation that you set up?
Yeah, so a lot of the primary autoresponders that are popular right now, obviously chatbot, surfaced a couple years ago, but something that has stayed fundamental, super fundamental, is the email. And email is not going away. It's still doing really, really well. But what people really need to take away from all of this stuff of what the backend is the foundational principles that all of the conversations and everything that will happen on the back end will never change, right? We will always have new software, we will always have new tools. It's just a matter of for us to implement and how do we adapt it into the way that we do it. Just like with marketing is not going to end, or it's not going to be going anywhere. It's just the medium of, these traffic sources that do change. And so people need to get that clear, because whenever chatbots came along, a lot of people were like, oh, well, email's dead because chatbots are getting, these open rates and these click-through rates. And I'm like, that's cool and all, but chatbots just work on certain elements. They don't completely replace emails, because the essentially what the email can do is completely different from what a chatbot can do. And so I tend to mix in the two into my campaigns and everything that I build out. And I integrate them in like different ways. But what people need to understand is whenever you have a lead, right? Somebody goes into your funnel. Now you need to really follow up with them. You need to nurture them. You need to be able, like I said earlier today, you need to be able to deliver value, make offers, and drive sales, all completely on autopilot. That's what these autoresponders can do. And you do that by being able to learn more about your people, being able to learn more about your audience. And that's what these tools allow you to do, because you can't really scale you having a one-on-one conversation with people. But there's a lot of people out there with the same world views that you may have, right? For example, I like to use the analogy that we can have like several different clubs, right? Clubs of people that are out there. And depending on what your interests are, you may be able to join, we have a dance club, we have a fishing club. It doesn't matter, right? We have all these different clubs that you can be a part of. Now, once you are in the club, you want to get to know your members a little bit better. And you do that through conversation. You keep engaging that conversation over and over again. You start seeing, okay, cool, this person likes this person's not reacting to this. Okay, now you do this online by adding tags to these individuals. So every single time somebody does a certain action in my emails or in my chatbots, they're tagged. And once they are tagged, I immediately know it's like me forming a deeper bond with that individual, because I'm taking notes, and it's notes that I won't forget, because the robot is the one that's learning about this individual, right? It's not me. And this is how you're able to scale it. So now I went from forming all these different clubs to really identifying the members that are inside the clubs and forming these deeper relationships. And the high level overview of what these whole things entail is, you hear a lot about like sequences, right? A sequence can be going a certain way. Somebody starts off the journey here, and then they move on to the day 2, to day 3, day 4. In day 4, you might say, hey, Mike, are you interested in, traffic? Are you interested, in lead generation? Are you interested with YouTube or Facebook? What actually do you want to learn more about? And depending on what those type of questions that I ask, I'm gonna be like, okay, cool. Well, Mike wants to learn more about YouTube. And so next, you might have chosen YouTube. Another person that was in the same like digital marketing club, they could have chosen Facebook. They want to learn more about Facebook groups. And I'm like, okay, cool. So now I can talk to these people. I can get even more hyper specific in my conversations that I carried out. And this is how you actually talk to people at a deeper level, through automation. And a lot of people tend to leave that out. A lot of people don't get that specific. And it's kind of like building a choose your own journey, choose your own path. Like in video games, you have like, you have like a storyline, and then sometimes you can choose A or B depending on what the conversation goes, and then all of a sudden it takes you through like a different route. Same thing for autoresponders. That's the same exact tool that they implement. And that's how people need to, learn about their audience in the back end. And that's how they're able to just craft everything and start segmenting people according to what their interests are, according to what, their deepest desires are.
Oh, I'm on mute here, but that's interesting that you say that, because I know I heard Anthony talk about that, as far as it with his emails and everything, and I guess different softwares and everything have different, integration and different ways to do that. So I guess what type? Well, actually, let me go to the comments first. Actually, Nikos asked, I guess he asked us a question. He said, how are you two so fly? So, and then he said Zap, which I think he was talking about the automations. I think he's talking about Zapier there, where you can kind of automate everything, with that. I guess just as far as what type of or what software do you use for your because I guess you have autoresponders and everything set up. So I guess I'm going to get a little technical here, or just ask for specifics as far as just the software you use. What type of software do you use for your chatbot, and then what software do you use for your AR, your autoresponder?
Yeah. So for my chatbots, I use ManyChat. ManyChat is freaking awesome. And then for my email marketing, I use ActiveCampaign. Campaign's been amazing. And then like everything else from my front end, I use ClickFunnels to build out my landing pages and all that. I do have some emails going out using ClickFunnels, but most of everything is stored and I create in ActiveCampaign.
Yeah, that's interesting to know, or good to know, as far as some people that actually want to, start implementing some of this stuff. And I guess as far as let me ask you, I guess, a couple of questions for your come up. I mean, could you tell us something that you believe in that you feel is a huge part of your success? Because we just heard your background story, and pretty much you said you really only had $1,000. I don't know how old you were or how long it took you to make $1,000, but you said up until some point you only had $1,000, and you said, I realized that I had to do something else, as far as making other money and stuff. So I mean, what is a huge part of your success and your come up?
Yeah, so just coming to this country, man, it was a big challenge. There was a lot of, first off with the language, learning English. Then my parents just literally sacrificing everything for my sister and I. They had their own professions back in Peru, and they came here so that we could live a better life. But when we got here, I was like a very stressed out child because I would have to take care of my sister. We were young, My parents would be working, and they'll be working these jobs that, they had their own careers back in Peru, and then here their careers didn't mean anything. Um, and so throughout the years, every single year, like we would always just struggle financially. We wouldn't have like the best things. We would always live in small places. When we even got here, we were all just sleeping in one mattress, in one tiny room, and we did that for some time. But then slowly, my parents, I have never had like any entrepreneur like in my family. Um, but my parents would always just sacrifice everything for my sister and I, and make sure that we had the best education. So for me, I started really taking a lot of interest in the sciences and technology. So that's kind of like where it started. I started going to a magnet school, started getting like really good grades. I was freaking amazing, in school and in my grades. And then that opened up a lot of opportunities when it came to like scholarships. But even with the scholarships, like that wasn't enough for while I was actually attending college. When I was attending college, the whole like you pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get an education, and especially with engineering, it was, aside from it being expensive, it was hard as hell. Like I've never studied so much time, like put so much time, so many years, that I really had to put a lot of critical thinking. And even though I loved math, it was still really, really hard. Um, and while doing all that, I didn't work because my parents were always like, they were busting their ass, and they're like, no, you just focus in school. They would always put like, that's why I'm always super grateful that my parents sacrificed a lot for both me and my sister when it came to that. And since I wasn't working, I would just be focusing in school, but there was still a lot of lack of money there because I couldn't do anything that I enjoyed. I couldn't even go out to like a restaurant and eat with my friends. I had to turn like all those things down whenever people would go out. Um, so then I had to have my first job. I ended up getting my first job as a barista at a Starbucks, and then from there, I still didn't even pick up. Like I wasn't in the mindset of like, oh yeah, like I would ever want to work for myself. I've never had that. As a matter of fact, like I looked into one of my books the other day, and all I ever wanted to do with my life, I just wanted to just make 50K, no, 48K a year. That was like as much as, like that was the standard for me. That's all I wanted. Like, and then looking at that, I'm like, wow, like I was so blind. Like I thought that was like the peak, like I thought that was it. So I think a lot of it for me has been like ambition. Everything that I've been able to pursue, whether that was engineering, with the dance, entrepreneurship, anything that I really dedicate myself to, I'm pretty ambitious and I love to learn. So no matter if, I embrace the positives and the negatives when it comes to learning. So that's definitely been like the biggest thing, is being able to identify what your ambitions are, and be able to capitalize on them.
Yeah, I know that. I guess you were mentioning, as far as, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, your mindset here. Because, I mean, a lot of people, they have that mindset where it's like, well, just let me make, this amount or that amount. But, I mean, obviously, I'm pretty sure 48K is nothing to you now. Because, I mean, pretty sure you can make that, within a month. You wanted to make that in a year. And that was like, pretty much, you thought that was the highest, level you could make. So I'm just interested in to know, how in the world did you get from there to where you are now, as far as your mindset? Because, I mean, a lot of people that think like that, they're like, well, because they don't have a lot of ambition and a lot of goal. And I'm pretty sure, I guess your ambition took you that way. But I mean, even in saying, let me just make 48K, that's kind of interesting to me that you're like, let me make 48K. Then all of a sudden now it's like, well, I just want to help people make money. So obviously, in order to help people make money, you already have to be making money. So obviously, I'm just interested to see how your mindset shifted, because a lot of people just think, the situation, because I was actually talking to a guy last night about this. I mean, we talked about, kind of the area that we were in, as far as our work, and I mean, just an employee mindset. And pretty much, kind of coming out of that now, where he was like, I'm starting to realize, I'm 30 years old, I have a kid on the way, and I'm actually, seeing that this job is not all I have. This job is not, everything I have. And he said he started talking to people. Like he said, there's one guy, he's 24 years old, he's already retired. He said there's a couple other guys he's talking to, they're making $20,000-$30,000 a month, doing stuff online. And he said, I'm starting to see this now. But I know as far as, me and myself, it's like, yeah, because I put a lot of time and a lot of work into, my job and everything. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are doing the same thing. And they think that's their only way, because we talked about, employees and stuff, and they just come to work every day and they don't see anything else. And you try to tell them this stuff as far as, you can there's another way. You don't have to spend all your time here. You can make money online. You can do other stuff. And not even if you don't want to do stuff online, there's still other ways you can make money now. But the internet is pretty much, I guess, one of the quickest ways that you can make a lot of money. So, quick. So I'm just interested to see what helped you, in your mindset shift and your mindset change. I mean, was it mentors? Was it books? Or, I mean, what helped you?
Yeah. So before I even dive into that, because I love that topic, being personal development, personal mastery, that above anything else. I strongly believe in doing it for my health, my wealth, wisdom, business, relationships, leadership, and spirituality. Those are the 7 areas that I strive to, excel in, not just in business. So what people see as a reflection for me when it comes to my physical health, or when it comes to like my business, I spend a lot of time like doing these things, but just as equal are my other areas of my life. And so that all comes down to like shifting the beliefs, right? Like you said, there's some people that are thinking this and they think that. You have to be, it's a marketer's job to be able to shift beliefs through storytelling. Okay, that's all marketing is. And if people are able to do that, if you're able to talk to somebody and you're able to shift their belief and their worldview, because it takes a lot, man. It's an identity, right? It's something that in their head, they're telling themselves these stories that make them believe that this is the reality, that's their reality. But if you're able to come along and you're able to really get them from where they're at to, to where they need to be, or where it is that you want to take them, you're able to, you've become a master at that point in being able to help others. And so that's one of the areas, that I've been studying a lot, because it's very, very impactful when it comes to, dealing with those types of people that may still be in their 9-to-5s, and you want to definitely show them another way. For example, like my mom, she, for her, it was mind blowing. Like she didn't understand, like, how do you make money online, because it's like the only route was just, you need a degree, you need to go to school, and that's like the only way. That was ever the only way. That's all I knew. But it all started with me, and the reason why I even like wrote that goal down was I started, once I started learning about entrepreneurship, a lot of entrepreneurship came with personal development. And so I look at entrepreneurship as a way to measure how I am doing as an individual, how much growth, because it really challenges you quite a bit being an entrepreneur. And so I started reading a lot. I got into Tony Robbins quite a bit. So listening to a lot of his podcasts. It was him, Tim Ferriss, quite a few other people, but they were like the 2 main ones. And they were just in Gary Vee as well back in the day. And I would like see everything they were preaching, and I'm like, okay, cool. And especially with Tony Robbins, man, I started adapting a lot of the stuff that he teaches, and then I just started doing it, like the way that he meditates, the routines, the way that he asks himself questions, like all these things. I just started learning about these like high-level achievers, and then I just started kind of mimicking all that. I just started modeling everything that they're doing. I'm like, okay, this person's doing this, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and do that as well. Any habits that they may have had, any of those mindsets, right? And then as time went by, I started diving deeper into like, the mindsets. And then lately, I've started learning way more about, everything regarding like how I mentioned, like all these different areas. What are the beliefs that we have? What are some of the fears that we also have? How can we dissolve those fears? Being able to identify our process, because I'm a very, like, coming from my math background, I'm very like step by step, pretty logical when it comes to everything. I like to break everything down that's tangible. I don't just like an idea you throw at me and I'm like, okay, well, what am I supposed to? It's not practical. I need the practical. So I put everything that I know into like spreadsheets. So whenever I had my mentor, his name also happens to be Luis. He's from Australia. He walked me through the purpose process, which was the biggest thing, and like we literally went and we examined what are my three categories that I'm spending my most money on. What are the top three things that I always have around in my surroundings? What are the top three types of like things that I mentioned in conversations? Like, right, like literally looking at all these things and seeing the patterns in everything that I had. And then it just came for that as well, like reading more biographies about, people that are pursuing work that is very inspiring to them. It doesn't matter in what area of their life. If they are a world-class performer, then you need to pay attention, right? You need to be able to really dissect and see, like, okay, well, what does LeBron think of this? What is Michael Phelps thinking about this? What does Peter Thiel think about this type of stuff? What are some of their patterns? What are some of the things that they say yes to? What are some of the things that they say no to? How do they manage their time? And being able to pick up all these things and then being able to model them into your life, and all of a sudden, man, you start just rewiring your brain. And I spent a lot of time just isolated. I spent like all of my 2016 was basically just me locked up, studying, reading, and then my friends just wondered, like, where's Luis at? Where did he go? I used to be the main one at all the parties. I used to be everywhere. And now all of a sudden I was just, dialed into really, really trying to learn and implement what I was learning.
That's interesting that you say that, because I mean that's another thing that entrepreneurs can do, especially even if you do have I guess if you're tied down to the computer, at least you're working for yourself. But obviously he said he wanted to transition out of that, but he did make enough money where he could actually pretty much, as you just heard him say, take off for a year. And just, 2016, he said pretty much the whole entire 2016, he just sat down and he read books. I mean, you cannot do that if you're an employee, because you got to go to work. And then if you're an employee that's working a business on the side, you can't do that. So, I mean, the thing is, you need to try to do what you can do now to set yourself up where you can actually, evaluate yourself. I mean, some people, it's really sad. I'm thinking about this now, the fact that, a lot of people, actually, they pass away and they die, and they pretty much gave their whole life to the job. They don't even know who they are. Their identity is in their job. And that's really, really sad. And the fact that you hear, a young kid, I don't know if you want to give how old you are or not, or whatever, but I mean, you got a young kid.
So my birthday was actually 10 days ago, and I turned 25 10 days ago.
Yeah, that is right. I wanted to mention that because actually it was 2 days before my birthday, and I turned 40. It was yeah. So
happy belated.
So yeah, thank you. But it's really sad that a lot of people do that, and I mean he's a young guy. And the fact is that he's discovered himself already, and I mean not fully discovered yourself, because you're always on a journey discovering who you are. But I mean he took a whole year off. Where how many people do you know that can do that? I had one friend that told me he did that, and he went to Greece and he traveled. I mean he's not doing anything with the internet. He's like a psychologist or something. And he said he took off for a year. And I thought that, I was like, what do you mean you took off for a year? That was maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. But the thing is, he had money. Well, obviously, he had money. He was, I guess, a specialist, some type of specialist psychologist. And the thing is, he had, and I just thought, I was shocked with that. But now it seems like it's the norm, because I think Andrew Cruzy took some time off or whatever. He went and traveled. And you see JR, talk about, he went and traveled the world, stayed with the monks and all that stuff. So, I mean, it's pretty interesting. And Nico says he's 39. So, yeah, you're still young. We talked about another guy, the same employee that I was talking to some of this stuff yesterday at work. He said he was maybe about 30 or something. Nico said he's 39, 40. I mean, you're really as old as you feel, man. We still got, a lot of time left here on this earth. So, I mean, just we need to, enjoy it, enjoy it as it is. But, I don't want to keep you too long. I'm sure you got things to do. But let me go ahead and ask you, everybody, I guess, on my interview, I actually asked him this question, the last question. Some people think it's, kind of deep. I don't know if you've been asked this before. You may have, if Rob interviewed you. But the thing is, so let me ask you, if you were to have one superpower, what would that superpower be and why?
If I were to have, I think Rob maybe have asked me, but it would just be the ability to learn faster, because with anything that we have, like we as human beings, we have the ability to, whatever obstacle, whatever challenge we have the ability to learn how to overcome that, and so my superpower would be able to 10x my learning for sure.
That's interesting. I was obviously a lot of people, because I know a lot of people figure out how to, or try to figure out how to read, because I guess I forgot the guy's name, but he has a course on speed reading and all that stuff, and they think that's going to help them learn and obtain information. But I mean, I guess it does in some ways. The more you see, the more you put in. I mean, it helps you. But I mean, that's an interesting thing to learn faster. That's pretty good. So
yeah. But being able to learn, I think like. Also, before I know we're wrapping up. Before we wrap up, I think one of my latest, I would say, like mind shifts that I had for me was when I knew that even after I'm gone, even after I leave, the physical realm, I'm still gonna be making money, right? Because passive income, you're gonna be generating long-term generational wealth. And so that made that, like knowing that, like literally, I have a freaking spreadsheet that tells me exactly every single year, every single month of my life, how much money I will be making every single month. And then it's like, oh man, well, like this is way too, like even after I'm gone, like the graph just exponentially becomes bigger because your money starts compounding. So that made me really think. I'm like, okay, well, money is not going to be an issue. Like, what are some of the causes? What are some of the things that I want to support? What are some of the things that I stand behind, that I believe in, that I want to be able to provide back? So that was a huge shift in my mindset. Like when literally seeing the numbers, right? Because when you do the math, like that's another thing that I got better at, just like knowing my numbers, knowing every single month how much I'm spending, how much I'm earning, how much I'm going to be making this month, adjusting everything to like inflation, taking like all these details into account, being able to do that. It really opens up your mind, like just seeing like, okay, well, generational wealth is real. What do I want to stand behind? What's my mission? What is my like 1,000 year goal, right? Like even after I'm gone, what do I want to support?
Hey man, I thought I was getting ready to turn out the lights, man. But man, I can't. I gotta turn them up. Now you just turn them up, because now my mind's running. As far as that, just that one statement you said, that I mean, it just, because I mean, you think about the people that invest, as far as 401k and all that stuff, but 401k has a stop. I mean, yeah, you can start investing, and all that stuff when you're smaller, and you talk about, the compound interest. But the thing is, with your 401k, you take it out when you're retiring, it pretty much doesn't grow that much after that when you start withdrawing and all that stuff. But Luis just said that he would be making money after he died. I mean, there's a lot to that. I mean, the fact that right now there's people that think that the only way they can make money is they have to go and show up and clock in. So if they don't clock in, then they don't make any money. But this guy just said, I mean, and then even, if they're at home sick, they're still living and they're existing, and they're not making money. I mean, that just blew my mind when you said it. I mean, I guess I've heard it before, but I never really thought about it until you just said that. Because I mean, the situation is, you got a guy right here that says when he dies, he's still going to be making money. Like, I don't think people really understand that, because I mean, the fact is that active income continuously keeps going. I mean, unless he closes down all his pages, his ClickFunnels pages, turns off his chatbot. I mean, if somebody does that, then I still think somehow he'd still be making money, because I mean, I don't think you can pretty much,
my money is like independent from any of the businesses. So.
Right. And I mean, that's pretty interesting, that the fact that you have a dead guy making more money than somebody that's living. I mean, I mean, it just kind of blows my mind. The fact is, when he goes and passes on, there's money that's still going to be making. And then you're still going to have somebody that's, in that constant mindset that's thinking, well, I can't make any money unless I go to work. That's the power. I mean, not even, I guess he's got other investments and stuff, but I mean, just the fact that, you can do that online. I mean, the fact is that's the power of, the internet and just setting yourself up for wealth now. Why, I mean, he still has a long life to live. And he's saying that even when he dies, he said, think about 1,000-year goal. I was like, no, nobody. I mean, obviously, man, this guy's mindset is totally different, totally blown. I mean, it really literally just blew my mind when you said 1,000-year goal. How many people think about, some people can't even make a 1-day goal, a 1-hour goal. And this guy is saying 1,000-year goal. I mean, I guess that's one way we can close. Just let people think about that until, whenever they see you again. I'm pretty sure that everybody wants to reach out to you in some kind of way. I mean, I would want to reach out. This guy that just blew my mind. He said 1,000-year goal, a goal that is set for 1,000 years. I thought I was doing something by setting, 1 or 2 year goal, but this guy just said 1,000-year goal. I don't know. Just tell people how to reach out to you, Luis.
Yeah, guys, if you want, just go ahead and add me as a friend here on Facebook. Shoot me a friend request, say what's up. I'll gladly be able to, engage with you. And then if you want to follow some of my stuff that I have going on, again, you can just reach out to me on Facebook. And I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about what I do, just teaching, sharing, guiding people on my YouTube channel. And not only like with, how to make money online stuff, but also mindset and just my life in general. So look out for that.
Yeah, thanks for actually, I just want y'all to do this. Just put a hashtag 1,000 years. I mean, if you're listening to this, whether Facebook pushes it out, whatever, everybody's going to want to know what that is. Just put hashtag 1,000 years. I mean, if you're listening now, if you're on live, if you're on the replay, hashtag 1,000 years. And I got to do something, man, because I saw it earlier. Well, actually kind of in the interview, your microphone right there. I mean, I got a little silver microphone, but this guy's got a gold microphone, man. I got to step up my game, man. He's got gold microphone. We got a gold frame in the back, and then it looks like, I guess, on your what is that, expert secrets? How many expert are those books on your shelf?
Oh man, I have like expert secrets like here. I have like shelves of, so wherever I travel, I always pack a few expert secrets and bring them along and to gift them to people. This is my most gifted book, so I have like shelves of just expert secrets.
All right, yeah, I hadn't gotten into that one. I have it right here on the side of my desk. I was reading .com secrets, and that blew my mind.
Expert
and I got expert. So I guess I don't know which one. Well, which one do you like the best?
So it depends like where you're at right now. I mean, Expert Secrets is a really great job in being able to let you know that you can make money with the knowledge that you have right now, right? Being able to monetize, build a community around that, and build a following around your message and how you can help other people. So.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate you joining us, Luis, and we will chat again. Thanks for going on. Like he said, reach out to him. I'm interested in that course. I'm pretty sure everybody else is, as far as just how you can make money online with less than $100. And we'll be looking out for you, man. I appreciate it. And until the next time, always be moving. Hashtag ABM. So we appreciate you guys joining us, whether you catch it on Facebook, wherever, on YouTube, wherever else you might see it. Thank you guys for joining in, tuning us, following us, and have a good one.
All right, peace, guys. We offline yet?
For some reason, I don't know, it's froze. I don't know if we're still on or what. Let me just close out Be Live. But thanks for joining me, Luis. And you can send me oh, here you go.